A realization that changed my life is that people don't have business problems. They have personal problems that manifest in their businesses. And if someone isn't committed to their business, you can bet that they're not going to be committed to their morning routine, their exercise routine, their diet, their daily habits, right? If you have a messy car, you probably have a messy business. If you have an unhealthy body, you probably have an unhealthy business. And I work from home, and over the months, what I started noticing was I was getting into the habit of not showering when I woke up, right? Not shaving or even getting dressed. I got lazy, and that laziness showed up in my business too, right? And to change this, like always, I gamified it using a strategy that I like to call the rule of opposites, right? I chose to dress up in a suit one day, and I felt and I looked sharper, right? I shaved, I put on deodorant, I took a shower, and I felt amazing, and my business reflected that. And even when you achieve success, you still need to discipline yourself. You need to make sure that you actually show up to work like it's serious, right? You have to treat it seriously. And when you take your life seriously, that will reflect in your business, and you'll see tremendous success. Because the people who refuse to change anything about themselves or about their mindset or about their worldview, and they just want to make a few more dollars per month, they're never going to get life-altering results. The people who are open-minded about making improvements and focus on their mindset rather than the money, they're the ones who end up making the most money, right? And some of the most successful people on earth will admit that they made who they are today, right? Tony Robbins often says that he wasn't born Tony Robbins. It's not who he is, right? It's not his roots. It's not him just being himself. He made Tony Robbins incrementally over time through self-reflection and careful analysis and consistent effort. Becoming truly great requires consistent incremental effort. Michael Jordan wasn't just born with a basketball in his hand as the best player on earth. He had to evolve and grow into that. In fact, he was actually cut from his varsity team in high school. Think about that. In fact, he was actually cut from the varsity team in high school, and think about what that would have done to most people. They probably would have given up. Well, basketball isn't for me. Time to move on and find the next niche or thing or business idea or shiny object, right? Most people told him that he'd never be good, and he still did it. And we've come to believe that we are something, but everybody's born the same way. We're all born the same way as helpless babies, and the skills and everything that we acquire, we have to go out and get them no matter what anyone else says or thinks. But to be able to achieve the dreams we want, we have to learn to cut through the noise. And in today's day and age, this is more important than ever with constant distractions like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Netflix, and the list goes on. And the way that I like to cut through the noise is something that I call LTD, right? The little task devil. And it's a concept that's very, very important to understand. The little task devil will try as hard as he can to distract you from this course and from making real progress as an entrepreneur and as a person. And the little task devil comes in many forms, such as homework, your 9-to-5 job, other work, your current clients or other businesses, other courses, other mentors, gurus, things that you know are distracting you from this course, which you should know by now has the craziest and most numerous student success stories for a reason, right? But these tasks you know are not as important still end up taking up most of your time. And the way that you combat this is by understanding and recognizing and being aware of the little task devil and making sure that he doesn't control your life. And when little tasks come your way, like emails or phone calls or scheduling a plumber to fix, your toilets, dedicate all of them to one day if you can't avoid them and knock them out, right? But you can't allow yourself to be constantly interrupted with your deep work time that you're spending on, this course. The little task devil will try as hard as he can to distract you from the highest possible ROI for your time. So be aware of him. And if you're aware of him, it's the first step of keeping him under control. And the way that I do this is by starting my workday with my most important task. Right? You probably have never done, product research or finding new profitable leads for your business, the right way. And because you've never done those things, you're nervous or you're feeling overwhelmed. And because you've never done it, it literally requires forming new neural pathways in your brain to start, which is why it's hard. And because it's hard, that's why you procrastinate doing it. But when you're self-aware about these things, then you can nip those bad habits in the bud and you can defeat the little task devil. So get in the habit of starting your day with your most important tasks, right? Do not let yourself get lost in the details. Block out entire days to work on specific tasks. Don't multitask. No one is good at multitasking. It's not possible. Learn how to single task. task. And the way that you can really achieve deep work and focus is to fall in love with the process of learning new things. Steve Jobs said, your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And the way to achieve results is not to focus on it, it's to focus on the process that generates the results. That's how you do it. Go dark, get things done. If you have a deadline or a big project to deliver on, remove yourself from the world. Stay inside, turn off your phone, don't touch email or social media, and don't come back to reality until the project is done. Because where you are in life right now, physically, financially, mentally, this is precisely how you designed it, right? You and only you are responsible for where you're at in life right now, no one else. What you have right now, how much money is in your bank account, the shape you're in, the state of everything you have, everything is because of you and because of the choices you've made and because of the habits that you've formed in your life. And I'm not here, to console you and tell you everything will be perfect and all right and that, an 8th place ribbon and a 1st place ribbon are the same and deserve the same praise, because the truth is they don't. I'm here to give you the mindset and the tactical tools to become a winner and to revolutionize not only your business, but your life and your fulfillment and your happiness. Because members of this course are winners. Even if they weren't in the past, right? They now make a commitment to themselves and to the rest of our private family group and to me that they're gonna evolve into the next version of themselves and to create the reality they want. And I think about it like a video game, right? You're choosing to play the next level of life, and the next level is harder. It's not comfortable, it's not easy. You can't expect level 2 to be as easy as level 1 or it wouldn't be any fun, right? We're gonna go to level 2, level 3, level 4, but to do that, you will face resistance. You will leave your comfort zone and you'll come out on the other side stronger and happier and more fulfilled than ever before. So don't drown in tools and software and the next shiny object or some other guru or course. Don't guru hop. They aren't giving you any better strategy or tactics. Trust me, I know, I've taken every course and they aren't even close to what you have in front of you right now. But again, this all starts with mindset. And let me illustrate this with an example of something I call the law of comparison. Because the only way the human brain can understand anything is via comparison. And let me explain. You wouldn't know what cold felt like unless you felt warmth. You wouldn't know what happiness felt like if you'd never felt sadness, because if you were only happy your entire life, it would be the only mind state that you would ever experience and it would be your entire reality. If you lived in a cave in complete darkness your entire life, you wouldn't know it as darkness. You'd only know darkness, so there would be no relativism or comparison with light. It would simply be, right? And an exercise that helped me when I was first starting to become successful was I associated my past and all my past decisions and everything that had happened to me up until that point with darkness, right? But with a real tangible thing that I could picture in my mind when I closed my eyes and imagine, right? The way I existed in my past made it impossible for me to achieve my dreams. That's just a fact. Who I was when I was working at my 9-to-5 job, flat out, was not capable of achieving my dreams. My mindset, my worldview, my daily habits, it wasn't possible, right? I really was a corporate drone. Society had beaten me down into compliance and believing the status quo and being a worker. To achieve my dreams, I had to transform my daily habits and who I was and my mentality and my self-belief and my confidence and my worldview to become someone entirely new. And it's a difficult but necessary step to accept and take ownership of the fact that who you are right now may not be capable of achieving your dreams. And it was one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to accept, but it was also one of the greatest realizations of my life, that you have to evolve and become a better version of yourself to achieve your dreams. And that means facing the darkness of your past and use that to define and intentionally move towards, the metaphorical light, which is achieving your wildest dreams. Because when you do that, that is when you really understand that you can do anything, right? It's just a decision, right? It's done already. At that point, the decision is made. Changing your daily habits is how you change your future and become your better self, period. Right? And quite often the best way to change your habits is what I like to call the rule of opposites, because it breaks you out of, your subconscious autopilot where you go about your day sometimes without even realizing how pre-programmed all of us as humans are. Have you ever just walked around your house and you just forgot how you got there or what you're even doing, right? That's your subconscious. That's autopilot. And I want you to do something right now so I can really illustrate this for you. Take out your phone, choose whatever app you use most often, right? Maybe it's Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. I want you to move it to a different place, literally on your screen. If it's on the first page of your phone, put it on the third page, right? If it's on the top left of your phone screen, put it on the bottom right. And start to take note on how much mental energy it is to open comparatively to what it was before, right? The reason is it's more mental energy after you move it to find it and open it, because you've literally formed neural pathways and have habituated where it is on your phone screen. And the same thing holds true if you go to the gym or go to work. How often do you honestly take different paths to work? You probably drive the same way every single day to work, or you walk the same path or bike the same path to work. Most people take the exact same path every single morning because it's literally scientifically, psychologically easier from a brain functionality perspective. It requires less brain power to take the same path. Right? And the rule of opposites breaks you out of that autopilot and allows you to make significant changes in your life. If you've always had a messy office, clean it up. If you've always been an extrovert, do something quiet and reflective, and do it today, right? Go drive to the beach if you live near one, or a forest, or go to a bar or a movie by yourself, because extroverts that always want to be out and social, they never get any time to quietly reflect and think about what the essence of their work is and what they actually want out of life. And then a lot of people who are introverted and really understand their work and themselves, they need to be more extroverted so they can go out and communicate with other people, what this masterpiece really is and what they've got, right? And by buying into the rule of opposites and breaking out of the daily autopilot that we all have, you can sometimes learn more about yourself in a few days of doing the opposite of what you're used to doing than you can in years of letting your subconscious mind dictate your daily actions, right? And this course has two key parts: mental and tactical. And I've never met a person who's achieved real amazing results without treating both sides of the equation with equal importance. You need to apply the tactics as well as reprogram your mind. You can't have one without the other. You can't just come in and focus purely on tactics and expect success. When I first got started, I was so much less sophisticated than where you are right now. I can guarantee that. I had little to no proof it actually worked. I had no mentor. All I had was belief in myself and my abilities and data, right? And the only difference between me and someone who failed and went back to their job is that I stuck to it. And I had a really good mechanism and process for going through things, for figuring out whether or not something was right or wrong, and for constantly improving myself through self-reflection and through analysis of what worked and what didn't. Because you shouldn't doubt the program. You shouldn't doubt the course. We have evidence to back that up. And you shouldn't doubt yourself, because we have the evidence to back that up too. We've transformed people from 9-to-5 jobs, from making 30 or 40 grand a year to 500 grand a month or more. And if you don't believe me, you can go see people like Oksana and Matt and Ben inside of our private groups right now flourishing. Because your friends and family and society and everyone around you has only seen you as you are now. They only know you as you exist right now. And so if you tell them that you want to do something, amazing, they're going to doubt you. They're going to try and pull you back down to their level. And you shouldn't think, your product or your service has to be perfect. You just need to get something out there and make iterations as you go, right? That's not to say be irrational, rush through things. Of course you want to do your due diligence, but you have to do something, right? And I want you to make a commitment to me and to your other fellow private family group members, and most importantly to yourself. You can have financial freedom or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. And this course is not only about becoming financially free and impacting and helping others, it's also about growing as a person yourself, right? And a very important part of that is what I like to call continuous improvement. There will be times in this program that you feel overwhelmed or over your head or technologically challenged. But if it was easy, then everyone would do it. What continuous improvement means is each day just getting a little bit better. The point is never letting yourself have 0 days, right? Never letting yourself do nothing. You always have to do something, and incremental gains of doing even just something, 1 minute of work, learning, getting better, even slightly, every single day will completely change your life. And it might not happen overnight, but it will happen. And if you're stuck at any stage or you're doubting yourself, it's natural, but learn to be reflective. Stop and say to yourself, what is the question that I need answered? How can I ask a question to get over my doubt and my self-fear? Because when I was first getting started, a little over 2 years ago, I was working on things and I couldn't see the reward right away. There was no instant gratification. I remember thinking, man, I'm doing all this work, right? I see all these other people having success, so I know I can do it too, but I'm still not seeing any results. And then a few months later, boom, all of a sudden I remember thinking, oh my gosh, where is all this money coming from? And what I realized was all the incremental effort and compound interest of my incremental daily actions over the past few months were starting to come back to me. And what people don't understand is that success is an exponential growth curve. We take action now and we do get some effect, but the effect grows exponentially, not linear. Right? This is why most people never achieve real success. People start a journey and they don't see the effect from their work, so they give up and they quit before the point where which their incremental daily effort starts compounding, right? Remember this quote because it's so important. Albert Einstein said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it." And modern day society has made entrepreneurship and starting your own business out to be some massive gamble that only 1% of people are lucky enough to be successful. And anyone, anywhere who makes a lot of money, they're just lucky. It was just some fluke. Anyone, who has a Lamborghini, it's leased, mansions are rented, it's all a facade. Most people think that my success is attributed to luck, right? Because I'm privileged or something, like I was given a trust fund, from my family. That's not true at all. Right? People who are successful, it's not due to luck. I don't believe in luck. I don't think there is anything called luck or chance. There is dedicated focus on the right thing, and there is everything else. Luck is simply being focused on the right thing and being in the race, because you can't win first place in a race if you don't even enter it. Right? And what most people don't understand is, even if someone does understand cause and effect, take action, get result, they don't understand the exponential compounding effect of time. And let me explain what I mean. If you exercise once today, you don't know what effect that's going to have on you in 5 or 10 years. See, because we tend to look at things only as today. We say things like, oh, well, if I go to the gym today, I won't look that much different today. But how do we know what effect that one decision to exercise today is going to have on us in 5 years? Time compounds incremental daily action exponentially. It's so critically important to understand this completely. The one decision I made to quit my job at PwC, that one tiny decision, when I made that decision and I quit, I doubted myself. I was like, well, maybe that was the wrong decision. All my coworkers and friends and family think I'm crazy. I already invested all that time at college and now I'm not even going to use it. Isn't that a waste, right? That one decision I made at that point in time, if we were to look at its effect, if that was the cause, and today we were going to look at the effect, it's more than $10 million in less than 1.5 years from nothing. That's massive, but if you asked me the day I quit, I would have told you I was nervous, I was worried, it didn't feel right, everyone around me said I was crazy, and you have something invaluable that I didn't have, right? Which is hard evidence that this works. Not only for me, but for all of the family members in our private group. You have a mentor who cares for you, who's proven that it works, to answer your questions, to show you the way with a proven blueprint. I had nothing but blind faith in myself and a burning desire to be better. And everything in this life is cause and effect, and it's compounded exponentially over time. When you're taking action every day, when you choose to put an hour into your business today, or when you choose to do this training today, or participate in the private Facebook group today, or one of our live trainings, when you choose to do any of those actions, you have to consider its long-term effect. If you just make one small little move today, I can't tell you how life-changing the effect is in your future. It's bigger than you can possibly imagine. Right? Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your business. It's the compounding exponential effect of daily effort, no matter how small. And there's a parable from ancient India about blind men and an elephant. It's a story about a group of blind men who had never come across an elephant before, who learned to conceptualize what the elephant was like by touching it. But each blind man feels a different part of the elephant's body, but only one part, like the tusk or the side. And they describe the elephant based on their limited experience, and their descriptions of the elephant are wildly different from each other. And this parable implies that one's subjective experience can be true, but that such experience is inherently limited by its failure to account for other truths or a totality of truths. And let me explain what I mean by that, right? What this illustrates is how you believe things to be true is subjective, right? It's relative. There is no absolute truth. It's only your truth. It's only your perception of reality. Because we as people tend to believe that everybody thinks the same way we do. We think that if we think something, then everybody else thinks the same thing, or if we believe in something, then everyone else believes in that. Successful people see, think, and believe totally different than people who fail do. And I want to illustrate this with a story, like always. When I was working at my accounting job, I was, a massive success in my family and among my coworkers, right? And in my school, 500 people applied for one, quote unquote, prestigious place at this accounting firm. I grew up in a working class family with, hardworking, conventional parents who loved and supported me, but, thought the only right path, right, their subjective version of success was to get a 9-to-5 job and save for retirement and fit in, right? My view of success was to go to college, get a stable job, and max out my 401 contributions, because that's what my parents had led me and raised me to believe was success, right? That was their subjective version of success. And I met someone along the way who I'm gonna call Lady Luck, right? Because thousands of people go through these programs, and I wanna keep her privacy intact, but her dad was ridiculously wealthy, like tennis court, basketball court, bowling alley, in the home wealthy. And the first time I saw her parents' house, it completely changed my worldview and my paradigm, how I perceived the world, my subjectivity of what I considered now to be success. Previously, I thought, okay, $50,000 a year for a 23, 24-year-old, you're rich, right? 100 grand, you're wealthy. That is what I thought success was. I thought to be wealthy, you had to get a job. And those beliefs, that paradigm, that worldview was embedded in my brain from my childhood and growing up in a traditional home. And don't get me wrong, right? I love my parents with all my heart. They were, very conventional. They believed in responsibility. They were very risk averse because they had to take care of my sister and me. And that is what I grew up believing, right? I arrived to this massive palace in Los Angeles, and my idea of success was totally shattered, right? My entire worldview of success that I had accumulated and been raised over years to believe evaporated instantly. Right? My dad, my entire life, would follow me around and turn off the TV and the lights and the heater and the air conditioning when I left rooms because he wanted to conserve energy when we weren't using it, right? He was obsessed with it. And I don't necessarily blame him. Logically, obviously, it makes sense not to waste energy. But this family had massive light structures and fountains and things that used huge amounts of energy that were just always on. And they did that because they wanted to enjoy it. And I remember saying, you're not supposed to do that. You're wasting energy. And her dad, who owned the house, said he wasn't wasting energy. He was enjoying it. And I knew right then that he was not a normal person. And by normal, I meant someone who believed that lights should be turned off whenever you leave a room, even if you enjoy having them on. Right? I'd never really met someone like that before. He was different. And since meeting him, something about me had changed too. I began questioning normal things. I began to think, what else have I got wrong here? Right? I mean, what else does this guy know that everyone else doesn't? And I started to think about this. It was the first time that I really questioned what I was doing in my existence and everything. And when I got back to my cubicle at PwC, where I used to be happy, right? Now I was questioning if this is what I was meant for. This couldn't be my destiny, right? I had been led to believe this was the definition of success, and that is what I believed up until that point. But coming back from this palace and witnessing true abundance for the first time, I started to panic. And I texted Lady Luck immediately, and I asked her, what her dad did, and she told me he started his own business. And you have to realize where you are in life right now is because of no one but you. Right? You have to realize that the thing you're blaming isn't the thing at all, it's you. Right? The voices in your head, the devil, the doubts, the fears, they're all you. They're all your mind. Everything you think is someone else's fault is yours. This is the most important thing to understand early on in any training program, right? And I'm not here to, make everyone feel good. I'm here to have people make massive, life-altering, earth-shattering results, right? And it's a bold thing for me to say because a lot of people, especially in society and everything, have come to believe that they need to be sympathetic of everyone and listen to their story and acknowledge their story and give them sympathy and then say, I don't blame you for playing it safe. I would have done the same thing if I was you. You did the right thing. It's hard out there in the real world. It's not your fault, right? That's what people are saying to most people. And while that might make you feel better at any given moment in the short term, in the long run, it's only feeding the sympathy addiction, which prolongs the cycle of weakness and which really further separates the rich from the poor, right? It's only going to make you suffer for longer because all that sympathy is doing is feeding your addiction, right? It's feeding the story. This is what people do, that when they blame other people, they then go out looking for sympathy or they blame other things, right? It's not their fault and they want to be with people who believe it's not their fault, right? But where you are right now is because of no one but you. If you look around right now, what you have, what you own, the physical shape you're in, the mental state you're in, right? How happy you are, the cleanliness and tidiness of your home, the state of your home, how awesome it is, how much you love it, how much you hate it, your car, how much money you make, how much money is your bank account, all of these things, you did them. It was no one else, no other force that was coming in here and influencing it. It was all you. Right? One of the most important things my mentor ever said to me was, everything is your fault, Kevin. He said, everything is your fault. Think about that for a second. Everything is your fault as an entrepreneur, and the sooner you take responsibility and ownerships for your problems and your successes, the sooner everything changes, right? When you transition from being a victim to being someone who takes ownership of your life, everything changes, because people's lives are exactly how they design them to be. And I think a lot of people forget this a lot of the time. When you take ownership of your life, nothing is unachievable. There is no failure, right? There's only feedback. There is no failure. There's only feedback when you take ownership of your life. And when your worldview and your paradigm changes, you unlock your true potential. And part of taking ownership of your life is setting goals. But most people do it frontwards, but the only way to set a goal meaningfully is by doing it backwards. And let me explain what I mean. I like to plan 1 month from now, from the end back to the beginning, because the truth is you can think about your goals all you want, but they won't happen until you reverse engineer it by working backwards and then execute on your daily tasks that go into achieving the goals you want. Right? You create your goal and then you backtrace it from that end goal and you turn it into daily tasks that will incrementally get you to it. And so you want to think to yourself, what is the next 30 days going to look like for you? Because there's only 2 ways it can go. And after seeing 10,000 plus people pass through my programs, I can honestly say that there is one thing that the people who go on to have wild success have that no one else does. And people always ask me, Kevin, what is the difference between your students that go on to change their lives and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month and become millionaires? What's the difference between them and everyone else? And I really studied this, and there are a few things that my most successful students share. They don't have 1 foot in cryptocurrency, 1 foot in their 9-to-5 job, 1 foot in competitive poetry, right? They commit fully to this course and this course only and nothing else. They say, I want to create something meaningful and life-changing. They aren't frazzled, they aren't scattered. Their focus is pinpoint, laser accurate. They set their mind to it and then they get to work. Right? They don't just learn, watch videos, and then drift back into Instagram and Netflix. They do the work and that's it. Right? And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you're unaccountable when you wake up in the morning, you'll be unaccountable in your business. If you're always late to work or meeting with your friends or other entrepreneurs, that will happen in your business. And most people are paralyzed regarding who they are, right? Based on the past and who they have been, and are afraid to make any sort of change or any actions to create the future that they want because their past is dictating their future. And it's a vicious cycle, because if you're too paralyzed to do anything, you create more of that paralyzation. Right? And to break the cycle, you must break free of the autopilot that your mind feels so comfortable with. Change your mindset, change your daily habits, change your life. And approaching this course as a whole can feel overwhelming for anyone, right? Period. What you're going to do in a short span in this course takes most people years, if not decades, to do. And you're special to even be here listening to this right now. And if you're actually going to implement all of the knowledge contained in this program, you're going to enter a very rare realm of legacy empire builders. And after watching a ton of people come through this program, what I've learned is the people who succeed approach this with a 1 day at a time mentality, right? ODAT. O-D-A-A-T, 1 day at a time. The point is, don't have any 0 days. Always be chipping away. Do something, even if it's just 1 minute, right? And your emotions are going to scream. You're going to leave your comfort zone. You're going to feel fear and discomfort and self-doubt and pain. And understand that it's a completely normal reaction to feel that way when you're working towards creating your dream life. Don't think these emotions mean you should stop. If anything, they mean you should be doubling down and going harder because you're going after the right thing. But you have to stick to what is taught with ninja-like discipline. It might feel like it's not working at first, but even after just a few days or a few weeks of discipline, it becomes habit, and then all of a sudden you have hard-working habits consistently being exponentiated over time after making all of those daily incremental efforts, right? You want to face your fears head on. You want to stare it in the eyes. You want to defeat it. Once you've done it once, do it again and again. And you want to start developing extreme self-discipline to do what needs to be done every single day. And if you do that, you'll stick to the plan, and if you stick to the plan, you'll get the result. Warren Buffett said the most dangerous distractions are the ones you love but don't love you back. And this means Instagram, Snapchat, Reddit, Netflix. Every time you're using these things, you're making the founders of those apps richer, and you're keeping yourself from your own dreams. The thing that all my successful students share is what I like to call the 30-day oath. What the 30-day oath means is that for the first 30 days after completing the course, you give it everything you've got. My most successful students normally take a week or two to get through the entire course, take notes, think things through, they don't rush, but once they've learned the material, they take action and they give it everything they've got. The average person dips their toes in and has a backup plan and might be planning on refunding if they don't see it work overnight. My millionaire students have burned the bridges and the boats and their backup plans and everything, and are 150% committed in every way, shape, and form humanly possible to succeed. And what's amazing to see is that these people who quit before 30 days, they never end up achieving anything, because remember, your mindset creates your success, and the same mindset that caused them to give up before 30 days bleeds into every area of their life, causing them to fail there too. It's really unbelievable to watch how consistently this is true. Remember, people don't have business problems, they have personal problems that manifest in their business. And people who take consistent action for the first 30 days typically continue to take consistent action for the next 30 days after that, right? Because they're starting to shatter some of their lazy mind habits, and they've dramatically altered their worldview and their definition of success and their definition of hard work. And whatever someone does for the first week is generally what they do for the next week and the next 30 days. And what somebody does for the first 30 days is what they do for the next couple of months and the next years after that. And Steve Covey has a quote that I love. He says, "If the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. But if the ladder is leaning against the right wall, which is this course that you're watching right now and starting your own online business, then each incremental daily action takes us closer to cashing in on the exponential compound interest that we are accumulating with every single one of our daily incremental actions." Get rid of distractions, focus on the blueprint, trust the process, and do the work every single day, and let's build an empire together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next.